Hello, dear friends. I'm Michaela. Welcome to my astrology channel, Todayenergy. This video is dedicated to the upcoming full moon in Aquarius. It will happen on the 12th of August, and the moon will be at 19 degrees of Aquarius. It will conjunct the ruler of this sign, Saturn, who is currently moving backwards in a retrograde motion. Now, this is all very interesting, and we will discuss in depth the situation on the skies during this full moon in the first half of this video, because you know that every astrological event that happens is not only active on the very day when it happens, but in the case of the lunations, like the new moon and the full moon, the energies are with us, they're active, and they influence us, our perceptions, and our life for the next 2 weeks. That's why we go into details. In the second part of the video, I will give a short, sweet forecast for each separate zodiac sign. Now, let's start. Sometimes I decide to check the Sabian symbolism of the degree in which something interesting happens on the sky. In this case, is the 19th degree of Aquarius. Sabian symbols are like metaphorical description of each degree, which implies us to think deeper, to meditate probably, and to find out what is this image telling us, what we have to pay additional attention to besides the classical interpretation of the sign, in this case, Aquarius. So the Sabian symbol represents a bear who is sitting and shaking all its 4 paws. Well, it's a bit of a funny image, isn't it? But the truth behind it is a bit more serious, because this symbol talks about self-control, the importance of being in control, of being disciplined, the self-discipline, and basically the energy of this 19th degree of Aquarius talks about taming your inner beast, the animal within you, kind of your instincts, I believe. So taming it, controlling it, like put it under your power, your control, so they don't overpower you, so they don't scare you or people around you, but you should use this inner animal, the inner beast, like the bear. It's such a massive animal, it's such a power and strength, so it must be your tool, it must be your instrument, your arm, in a sense, like your resource for growth, for self-development, for achievements in life. So this is a very beautiful description, I believe. And in this case, it's like double whammy, because we have here also the moon conjunct Saturn, who himself is like a strong bear, because Saturn is a very material planet and it's about power and manifestation, but also hard work. But this Sabian symbol, dear friends, reminded me of the tarot card number 8 from the major arcanas, strength. Always number 8, or usually or classically, traditionally, it's represented by a young maiden, very gentle, you would say, not very physically strong, we believe, and she's successfully overpowering and taming this wild, angry red, yeah, you see the color is red lion. So it's this power within you. It's not the bullying power of who is stronger and who can hit stronger, but it's the self-discipline, self-reliance. Being self-confident is the most important, and then your inner instincts start working for you. They become your friends. So this is a very powerful message here, I believe. As well, each sign, which consists of 30 degrees, we can divide into sections. There is a division into 3 equal parts of each sign. First 10 degrees, then from 10 to 20 degrees, from 20 to 30 degrees, and those are the decans. So the moon here falls into the Gemini decan. We can also divide the sign into smaller sections, which is a bit more hard to explain the logic, but those are called dwots. So the 19th degree of Aquarius falls into Virgo dwot. Both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury currently, at the moment of this lunation, is in Virgo, in one of its domiciles. So Mercury, the planet of mental activity, communication, but also manual skills, is very happy in Virgo. And here the moon is in the little sub-territory of Virgo. And of course, Virgo is about work. It's about health, taking care of yourself, your health, but even more importantly, taking care of others, fixing problems, dealing with responsibilities, the same as Saturn wants. Virgo, I think the main question of Virgo is, how can I be of service? How can I be helpful to other people? So here is a very, very important nuance, like a shade of this part of Aquarius. Now, actually, let me share the screen with you so we can together observe the sky in the moment of this full moon. Here it is, the chart showing the sky around the Earth for the 12th of August 2022 for 4:35 a.m. That is time for Sofia, Bulgaria, Eastern European Daylight Saving Time. So in case you would like to build this chart for your location, you just have to introduce your time zone. But that doesn't much matter. I will not discuss the houses of the chart, but we are looking at the planetary positions and interaction between themselves. So we see here, as usually, full moons are oppositions, of course, between the sun and the moon, which is fully illuminated by the sun. So the moon becomes like this huge projector that illuminates the sky, the situation, truth come to the surface. We understand the reality. We understand what we have achieved so far. What have we reached? How is the situation exactly? We can collect the results, receive the awards. At the same time, we can decide that it's not worth the efforts, the situation, whatever the project, so we quit. So it's ending. Oftentimes, full moons mean either a peak moment, a culmination, or of course, an ending. The process about which we talk, of course, it's most probably related to the Aquarian area of your life, of your chart, where Aquarius falls in your natal horoscope. But also, maybe it's about something you have started or you have planned in your life. Either 2 weeks ago, when we had this beautiful new moon in Leo, it was, remember, I have a video on my channel, it was trined by Jupiter. So, you know, the Leo archetype of having fun, of being on a stage, of shining, of being the star, the leader, the winner. And Jupiter is like, I'm the superhero. I can achieve everything I desire and want. But yeah, Jupiter knows no limits. And Jupiter tends to have over optimism and over faith. So sometimes with Jupiter, with such a new moon, we can promise too much, we can ask for too much, we can hope for too much. And here comes this full moon with Saturn, which is the true reality check. So can you actually perform and build what you wanted initially 2 weeks ago? Can you be responsible for what you wished for? Because it's not only just the inspiration. I mean, inspiration is important to start something. I couldn't wish for better new moon, especially for Leos, with the participation back then of Jupiter with a trine, yeah, because it gives you the boost, the faith. I can do it, I can achieve it, I can go abroad, I can start the studies, I can open my own blog, business, and so on. I can go for this date. But now you have to roll up your sleeve and even put your hands dirty, because you have to work, and you have to work with tangible material objects and instruments. Saturn is not about dreams. It's about sweating and building the foundation, the skeleton, the kind of what holds the construction together. So yes, if it's some shorter, smaller project in your life, think back 2 weeks ago. What have you wished for and started? But maybe we're talking here a culmination or results or news or revelations about something that you have started 6 months ago or even 1.5 years ago. This we say because during those times we had new moons, but in Aquarius. So it's even more precise to this topic of Aquarius, which right now you experience some culminations. Possibly it's the one that started here 6 months ago or 18 months ago, so 1.5 years. So you can try to think about this in your life. And yeah, you know, like Leo archetype, if you check my video, if you have seen my video about the new moon in Leo, it was about discovering who you truly are. It was about discovering your inner light and having faith in yourself that you are worthy and unique to be loved, to love yourself, first of all, without the applauses and approval of others. Because if you depend too much on others, they can raise you, but also you can fall down if they stop paying you attention. And this is what Leo has to learn. And I hope we all learn it, because here the energy is slightly opposite. I say slightly because, of course, every pair of signs which are opposite each other are like two sides of the same coin. They have to learn each other. And they have to keep in balance. They are like the shadow and light side, the conscious and subconscious. And yeah, if Leo is all about me, and my ego, and what I want is the utmost important in the universe, right? Like the divine child. Aquarius is all about the common things, the shared things, the social things. Aquarius is an air sign. An air sign is about ideas, communication. Nowadays, it's about waves and internet and magnetic fields. It's something that you cannot catch, that you cannot lock, right? And it's something that connects people. So Aquarius is very much about society. It's about your neighbors. It's about your friends, your tribe, your group of like-minded people. For Aquarius, the horror is to not fit in, is to be lonely, is to be not accepted. But at the same time, every time I think about Aquarius, I think about the personality of Albert Einstein, the singularity theory, isn't it? So basically, the theory of everything. So basically, Einstein, when he was a child, his teachers thought that he has some delays in his mental development. He was a very bad student. He didn't cope with the material for kids his age. But then you see, he turned to be, he showed he was a genius. So for Aquarius, this is the tiny red line, the tiny difference, border between being the outcast, being the crazy person, and actually being just ahead of your time, thinking outside of the box, being different, being futuristic. Aquarian archetype could be Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, people who invent something that before was laughable or no one believed in. They keep the faith, because as Leo, as well as Aquarius, as well as Taurus and Scorpio, it's all fixed signs, so they don't give up easily. They hold on their vision, their ideals. And here for Aquarius, it's truly important, your vision about the future, your ideals, and basically what you want to create, not only for yourself or for your family, but for the whole society, for the whole generation, for the whole humanity, and for the future. Yeah, Aquarius is very futuristic sign. And suddenly, from the outsider and underdog, you just become a genius and a maverick and the inventor and creator, right? And so, yeah, Leo is the top dog, is the winner, is the star, is the solo player. And Aquarius wants to play with the society. But here we have Saturn, the traditional ruler of Aquarius, and Saturn is about limits. Saturn is about hard work and being very practical and discerning what works, what doesn't work, what is stable and sustainable, and what's not. When I was thinking about this full moon, I remembered the times before the pandemic, before 2020. I worked as a local historical tourist guide in Prague, the Czech Republic. I really, really love history. I have a lot of Scorpionic energy, so I'm all about digging and researching. And now I do it for astrology, but back then I did it for architecture, art, history of art, and culture, and of course, history of Czech Republic, even though I'm Bulgarian. But I was an expat there. And if you have been to Prague, you have seen probably one of the beautiful gems of the city, historical highlight. It's the Charles Bridge. The Charles Bridge, built by Emperor Charles IV. The construction began in 1357, yeah, so medieval times. I'm pretty sure emperors back then, kings, noble people, they did use services of astrologers. And Charles really wanted to create something, some construction that would persist, exist an eternity. So no time, no floods, no battles, no rebellions could destroy his bridge, the Charles Bridge. So he chose even a very special magical date to build it, because it's a set of numbers. You can read them equally both ways, like in a mirror. 1357, 531. So the legend says, I used to tell this legend to my tourists, that to make the mortar stronger, yeah, this kind of the substance that glues the bricks and the stones together so they don't fall apart with time. So one of the substances they wanted to use was egg yolk. So Charles IV ordered all his citizens of Kingdom of Bohemia back then to send him eggs. People were really, they loved their king, and they thought actually he and his court just need more food, so they were boiling eggs and sending him boiled eggs, but he really needed them fresh because egg yolk has this property to link glue things. So basically that was the funny kind of legend. Recently specialists, scientists took samples from the bridge and discovered that in the mortar there is actually no traces of neither eggs nor boiled eggs nor yolks. It's different consistency chemically, but yeah, it was pretty cool legend. Nevertheless, this made me think of this Saturn, that either on this full moon you will be glued with people, projects, ideas, success. Yeah, you will realize it's so sustainable and strong that it will stand like Charles Bridge no matter what. Tests of time. Saturn represents time. You have to be patient for this. In my country, in Bulgaria, we say that the best things happen slowly. If you rush things, you will get chaos and uncertain result, and it will fall apart most probably. So Saturn, even being retrograde here, talks about patience and time and persistency and hard work. While it's retrograde, the keywords are re-evaluate, reassess, restructure, rebuild. But at the same time, if you realize that there is something shaky, unstable, uncertain about people or projects in your life, then it might just be over. Saturn is the big cleaner. Before they discovered Pluto, Saturn represented death, and death in a sense of things just have to fade away when they don't serve a better, higher purpose. So here you might want to just, interrupt something which you clearly see is not working and it's not gonna last. By the way, if you are interested in Saturnian topics, in the topic of Aquarius and Saturn being in Aquarius and Saturn being retrograde, I would recommend you finding on my channel in the list of videos a previous video I made about Saturn, what he rules, what does he represent, and what does it mean to have Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. And then, of course, he will eventually, in October, reach, I believe it will be 18 degrees of Aquarius, station, like stop, and turn directions, and then go back. So he will pass 3 times certain degrees of Aquarius, and that's pretty important, I believe, especially now highlighted by this full moon. So you can check this video. At the same time, you see that the moon squares Uranus. And this is just a highlight of this ongoing square between the big players, Saturn and Uranus. They're slow planets, so they need someone quicker, like the moon, to come across, to activate, push the button, then the moon will go away. Yeah, so we will feel around the 12th the same kind of energy, the same kind of discomfort, unfortunately, we were feeling the whole 2021. Of course, it had also its peaks and its lows, but the square was ongoing 2021. Now, this summer, it's heating up again. And the final showdown, the final clash between Saturn, who wants freedom, who is capable to make revolutions and earthquakes because he wants change. Yeah, he wants to jump into the future. But Saturn is still saying, no, you are not ready yet. It's just a chaos. You have to be more prepared. You have to be like, keep what's important before throwing the baby with the water, as they say, right? So we have to now balance with these energies, but during this full moon, Saturn is stronger. He is at home in Aquarius. The moon is illuminating him. So he is like this piece of rock amongst this turbulent sea or ocean, you know. And here is the lighthouse. Actually, it's like a lighthouse showing you the way. Yes, there should be change. Yes, there should be progress. But possibly after October, because their last square will be end of September, beginning of October. Afterwards, planets keep on moving and the square separates. So the energy will dissolve. But now it's pretty intense. So yeah, currently the positive outcome of this Saturn can be grounding, moderation, restructuring, think twice, second chance to fix something, stabilizing, stability. Saturn here is stabilizing and make you strategize and plan for your upcoming revolution and visions of change. So yes, on social level, of course, Saturn in Aquarius people, the groups, the community, the beehive, yeah, the internet, the movement of people, the connectiveness, the nervous system and everything. And Saturn there, especially being retrograde and highlighted by this full moon, can mean more regulations, more rules, more obstacles, more like face masks and whatnot. Because why? Because we want to care about everyone. It's not so important that, let's say, in my case, I have heavy breathing and panic attacks. I have to wear 1 or 2 masks if they told me in different countries is different rules, right? So it's about the benefit of the whole, the population and society. So yeah, once again, we will be faced with these social responsibilities. Now, my dear friends, I will be casting or reading you a short forecast about each zodiac sign. I do encourage you to listen the information about your rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign for more like in-depth and better overview of what you can expect as a physical manifestation, as events in your life, but also how would you feel and react upon them due to this astrological event.
Dear Sun, Moon, and Rising sign Aries. So this Aquarius full moon happens and falls into your 11th house. So we already discussed that the full moon will most probably reveal some facts for you, and those might be connected to your friends, to the like-minded people with whom you willingly spend your time. Those might be colleagues at work, if you work in some bigger company, international corporation especially. Those might be your business partners. But maybe we're talking even about revelations, about people with whom you just attend some courses, classes, hobbies. Maybe it's a political or non-political organization. And of course, since the moon conjunct Saturn, who is currently retrograde, we're talking about some kind of re-evaluation of your friendships, of your alliances with other people. We're talking about restructuring of your relationships with these people. We talk about the need to seriously attend these projects that you vouched your participation, support and help with other people, with some community, with your friends or with just like-minded people. At the same time, we see that Uranus is triggering your second house of work and income. So definitely you are impatient to do some changes, maybe to go freelancing, to start some new, more technical career, something related to IT skills and technologies possibly. But yeah, there is this kind of need for financial independence and professional freedom. Nevertheless, you still have the responsibility towards your friends or company or corporation. Also, 11th house is the house of our dreams, goals and wishes, especially the goals for our personal development and professional career path. So here again, Saturn says that you should think twice, think very carefully and prepare for the upcoming changes. And I promise to draw a card for each of you, for each zodiac sign related to this full moon, as like as little reminder or advice from the universe. And this time I'm using this beautiful oak, ash and thorn tarot. It's absolutely amazing. It's with animals, animal-based deck. Very beautiful, very gentle. And because I make 2 videos every time on same topics for same zodiac signs. One video is in Bulgarian for my native Bulgarian public, and the second one is for you in English. So I had drawn the cards previously, and don't worry, they go in order. So for you, Aries, the card which came up was 6 of Cups. And 6 of Cups, it's a beautiful card of lovely emotions. You see here this family of squirrels is playing around the old tree where they have stored something maybe even from last season, because 6 of Cups talks about old friendships, nostalgic memories about the past. So look at that, full moon in 11th house of friendships with Saturn, who usually talks about something from the past, something that takes time, older generation, more serious people. So maybe you will be meeting with your former classmates, roommates, some friends from childhood. So possibly this full moon will bring you this lovely memories with other people, with friends you used to hang out more in the past. Maybe you will rediscover each other's talents, interests, and you will start some common new projects soon enough. Dear Taurus, for you this full moon happens in one of the cardinal points of your natal charts, the 10th house. The 10th house on the first place talks about career and our mission in life. So full moons usually bring clarity, revelations, maybe to yourself, or maybe this moon, like a big limelight projector, will illuminate your persona, your personality in front of your colleagues, in front of public, in front of clients. So you have the time to shine. So here it's good to be careful with your image and reputation, Taurus, because at the same time Uranus, the rebellious planet, is in your first house, triggering your inner impatience to move forward, to introduce some radical changes, whether into your appearance and look, how you look like, or it's about your body, or it's about your environment and the people with whom you closely interact on daily basis. But maybe it's even about your career. Maybe you're planning to go online, freelancing, doing something related to astrology, for example, or some modern technologies, IT skills possibly. And yes, you really long for changes, but remember, the moon during this full moon conjuncts retrograde Saturn in your 10th house. So first you will have to deal with some unfinished business at work. Maybe now the moon will illuminate what has to be done, redone, finished, restructured, because Saturn is about structure, is about foundations. Maybe first you have to lay your foundations of whether studies, education, in order to apply for some higher, more responsible position. Maybe you are waiting for your management to decide your future role. Yeah, maybe you applied but still no answer, no results. It's possible that you are also having some moment or period of negotiations with your parent. 10th house usually classically symbolizes father figure in our life, or the main kind of the more proactive and actively caring and providing parent from both of them. So it might be mom or dad nowadays, but maybe you have to first finish taking care of a parent before completely dedicating your time to career. In any case, there is a feeling that you have to wait for something in order to step fully into your true life mission and to take more responsible role in the society. And I have drawn a tarot card for you, as for any other sign, from this beautiful deck. It's called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot, and it's lovely, Taurus. You might like it very much because it's nature-based decks, and Taurus is usually the sign who appreciates true, beautiful, peaceful, calming nature. So such is the essence of this deck. And don't worry, the card is drawn for you, honestly, but I did it when I was filming the same video just in Bulgarian language, because I have two astrological YouTube channels. One of them is for my fellow Bulgarians, the other is for the English speakers. So the card which we drew for you is the major arcana number 12, called the Hanged Man. So here you can see it's this cute mouse. Normally the Hanged Man is represented as a man who is hanging because he's caught on his foot. So he's hanging upside down with his head down. And yes, normally this card means patience. It means things are not progressing at this very moment. You need to wait. But while you're hanging literally there and waiting, you can do still stuff. You can upgrade your skills. You can go back to some education, to studies, to requalification, to look for other meanings in life. We're talking about career possibly, but also it might be related, of course, to your status overall, like whether you're getting married or engaged or divorced, but things currently are not proceeding on a speed that Uranus in your first house would love to finally get these papers, get this relocation or so on. So while you're hanging, it's absolutely fine to actually have a look on the world from different perspective. This is the point of the major arcana number 12, that the character on it put himself in this situation on purpose. So he has the time to come up with some brilliant ideas while looking at the world from a completely new viewpoint. So this could be an advice for you as well, dear Taurus. Dear Gemini, for you, this full moon happens in your 9th house. So remember, of course, full moons are about completions, endings, peak moments. Also, it's about being on a stage, shine, because the moon is like a limelight directed towards you. And ninth house is about studies. So some of you maybe are graduating or finishing their degrees or theses. Maybe it's about travel plans and documents. So finally have some news about those. Ninth house can talk as well about court trials. So maybe you have some decisions here. And last but not least, it's about philosophy, it's about faith, it's about worldviews, moral code of oneself. So maybe you will be like realizing something important here and possibly changing your point of view, aspirations. But yeah, ninth house is also about celebrities and social events, like giving some presentation, being the host of some conference. So that might be your case, a step under the projectors, limelights. But remember, dear Gemini, that the moon is conjunct with Saturn, who is currently retrograde. So Saturn wants us patience. Saturn says there's still things that have to be restructured, planned, reorganized. Think twice, says Saturn, before rushing into action. You want to study new modern technologies in order to go freelancing in the future. But Saturn here in the ninth house says you have to still put some more additional efforts into your education, into your studies, and into your overall moral code, worldviews. You know, possibly you have to change your perspective, but don't give up on your idea. I drew a card for you as well as for other signs from this beautiful deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. Very sweet deck based on animal kingdom, very natural, very gentle energy. And so because I record twice all my videos, once for my Bulgarian channel in Bulgarian language and second time for you in English, so the cards are already here drawn and prepared to be shown for you in English as well. So here is the card for you, Gemini, and this is Seven of Wands. Wands is a fire energy. It's about projects, initiations, adventures, travels, and so on, business. But here the point is that you have to defend yourself, that maybe there will be people who don't agree with your worldview, with your moral code, principles, religion, your cultural belief system. So you will have to prove yourself, but no worries, you're standing on a higher ground. Like in a classical tarot, there is a soldier at the top of a hill protecting himself, but he's in a very strategically good position, and maybe it's defending your master thesis or doctoral thesis. Yeah, you prepared something, and now Saturn would represent for you during this full moon the wise teachers, the professors who are holding the exam. So you're the student who is just about to reach your degree, but you will have to, at least we say in my language, we have to defend our thesis in order to receive the master or doctoral degree, right? So it's gonna be time for you to stand your ground, dear Gemini. Dear Cancer, for you this full moon happens in your 8th house, which covers several spheres of life. That can be our finances, which we don't work for. So all sorts of passive incomes, whether shared family resources, family business, the money of your partner, your spouse, or business associates. Those can be credits and loans you're taking. Those can be support and scholarship from universities, government, European Union and other institutions, the bank, of course. And 8th house also are our intimate relationships with our partners, the ones that we really put our trust into, and we live together, we have a shared budget and so on. And finally, 8th house can talk as well about psychological issues which we have to face and deal with. and crisis situations in life. So this full moon, of course, can cast a light on all these matters, so they can become much more clear for you. Like, where do you stand with your partner? How are your finances and investments doing? Maybe you will start getting your profits. Yeah, because full moon is culmination, it's results of something, it's realization. It's the peak of some process. Maybe you are getting or not getting a loan. I say not getting as well, it's possible, because remember, the moon conjuncts Saturn, who is retrograde at the moment. So Saturn says, don't rush, think twice, restructure, reorganize. Maybe you have to resign your loan agreement with the bank, the money you took as a mortgage. Maybe now it's time to change the percentage or something, right? So yeah, while Saturn moves retrograde, you're rethinking your business plan, possibly. On the other hand, maybe you are rethinking whether you can trust this person with whom you are, should you stay together. Maybe you are going back to visit your old psychologist, your old astrologer, tarot reader, who can give you more insights, more information about your situation and how would be the best case scenario for you and plan of action. Saturn here in the 8th house is opposite of rushing. He really wants you to be methodical and careful with your actions, and whom you can trust exactly. I drew a card for you as well from this beautiful tarot deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's very lovely, it's nature-based deck. And because I have 2 YouTube channels, in Bulgarian and in English language, I already drew the cards during the Bulgarian video. So now I'm just recording the English one, but the cards are, of course, I order them truthfully for each sign. So for you, Cancer, we drew the Emperor. It's a major arcana, it's number 4. It talks about stability, not rushing, but being very wise, very strategic, like an emperor of a whole empire. Like you see this beautiful, full of dignity stag here, right? Who is the lord of his forest for sure. So he has strategy. He knows how to act, and in your case, strategy is required towards personal relationships and financial matters, and as well as possibly psychological matters and how you deal with crisis situations. But you will do just fine, Cancer. I know normally you're very water-based sign, very emotional, actively caring, sometimes acting too much on emotions, but Emperor is the one who is like playing chess, you know, on a chessboard, and who is emanation basically of stability and self-assuredness, self-confidence. So this is a wonderful card, even if you're in a bit more turbulent times, let's say. Dear Leos, for you this full moon illuminates your 7th house, which is opposite the 1st house, ourselves. And of course, 7th house talks about our partnerships, our best friends, spouses, people with whom we communicate, interact, with whom we have some contracts. So those might be also business partners, deals, yeah, papers, contracts, lawyers, advisors in our lives. And of course, here the spotlight is on them. So their game, their rules at the moment, dear Leos, we have to follow their advices. There might be very stubborn, very principled people with big principles, because remember, the moon is conjunct retrograde Saturn. So Saturn is internalizing, Saturn is rethinking. So maybe your partners are currently dealing with their own structures in their own life, their own past matters and problems, possibly family issues. So don't rush them, you know, they need time to rethink, strategize things. Maybe you're meeting just Saturnian type of people, businessmen, politicians, older people than you, wiser people than you, more experienced people, or maybe those are representatives of authorities. So maybe you're facing a bit of a wall with them, right? At the same time, Uranus is in your 10th house, So Uranus is activating your thirst for freedom, for novelties regarding your career, but also social status. So maybe you want to marry, maybe you want to divorce, but there is some delay because of partners, because of lawyers, because of contracts, because of documents, papers. Negotiations are a bit now stuck. Not exactly stuck, but just going through re-evaluation. And this is what Saturn wants till the autumn, to re-evaluate your partnerships. Can you trust them? Are they laying for you solid foundations to go and develop together in the future? Or maybe it should be the end of it and separation, if the connection is not so solid for you too with your partner. Maybe it's really about work and business partnerships. Maybe you need to finish working for some company first, and then you would be ready to go as a freelancer if you wish to do so. Now, for each sign, I drew a card from this beautiful nature and animal based deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. Yeah, I really love it. And I'm not drawing right now cards in front of you because I did it in my Bulgarian video. You see, I have two astrological channels with the same information. I'm just recording videos twice, once in Bulgarian, once in English for you. So the card I drew for Leos in my previous video in other language is Justice. And Justice is a major arcana, number 11, so it's important advice here from the cards. Justice talks about legal matters, very much so, about court negotiations, court trials. So maybe this is for you on the table. Justice is the card ruled by Libras, and remember that Libra is the only unanimated object within the 12 zodiac signs. The rest are people or centaur like Sagittarius, or Leo, animal like Scorpio, right, or Cancer or Pisces. But Libra has no kind of feelings, even though we know that Libra is the sign of relationships and balance. But when we talk about balance indeed, and truthfulness and justice and fairness, we have to switch off the human side, because we are never completely objective as human beings. So here Justice speaks about cool-headedness. Cool, like for Leos, the organ, active organ is the heart. It's always the fire in the heart for Leos. Is what I love, what I like, I want to be loved, liked, admired, and so on. But here Justice says about need to switch off the emotions, the likes and dislikes, the biases, and go completely unbiased as much as possible for a human being, of course, and deal with negotiations and finding the best deal, solution, consensus for all the parties involved. Even we have these two words, right? Compromise and consensus. And it's amazing how they're different, actually, because compromise is when no one is happy. Like each of the parties give up something in order to make peace. Well, consensus is when all the parties, in this case, most probably two of you and your partner, or you and some institution with whom you have business or contract deals and negotiations and agreements. So here you have to both brainstorm until you find this consensus, which could be the completely new idea, which would be in favor for your union, for both of you, for you together. So that's how you won't suffer like with a compromise, each getting angry and giving up something, but no, you have to find some new way in order for everything to be absolutely fair and just. This is very important by this card. Dear Virgos, for you, this full moon illuminates your 6th house. Traditionally, Virgo rules the topics of 6th house, so you won't be surprised much, I believe, by the topics of work and of health and of daily routines. How much we work, how much we exercise, what do we eat, how much do we sleep, and so on. So here, of course, you might have some news, revelations, discoveries about your health status. Maybe you receive the result of your examinations, blood tests, and so on. Maybe you find the right doctor for you, or medical health system overall. What else? Maybe you're completing a work project, so you're receiving your congratulations and admirations and rewards by the company. Maybe you decide to change the company, the office. Maybe you get some news from your employees, because sixth house is the people who work for us. All sorts of staff, of people, advisors, lawyers, even the ones who help us in the house, like cleaning personnel. So some kind of ending maybe of contracting your nanny, because your child starts going to kindergarten or school, for example. Yeah, and here the moon conjuncts Saturn, so there will be this news, but they will require you to be more strict, to be tougher with yourself. Maybe your project is delivered, but there still must be some corrections done, research done, restructuring of your team, of your office. Maybe you're moving to a new office, but you find out that it's in a bad state, so you have to start hiring builders, workers, and so on. Possibly after the examination you need to go back to some older diet or exercises that worked well for you, but you kind of stopped them or gave up on them in the past. Yeah, maybe you're going back to the old office, back to the old doctor, or you just have to be very well organized for doing properly your daily responsibilities, tasks, repairments, anything you have to do at work, as also commitments. Sixth house is the house of the karma, and Saturn is the planet of the karma. So now you have the chance to go back to see what is going on now in your life, and realize that it's actually not just per chance, but it's a result of something that you maybe did or didn't do in the first half of your life, or possibly if you're aware of and like familiar with your past lives. So now it's a great karma cleaning time, home cleaning, office cleaning, and even karma cleaning time. Virgos, my dears, I drew a card for you from this beautiful deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's an animal-based tarot. It's absolutely adorable. I like it very much. The card was drawn from the deck, of course, as usual it must be, but I did it for my previous video. It's the same information but in Bulgarian language, because I have two YouTube channels about astrology. I deliver same messages but in two different languages. And so the card I drew for you was Nine of Pentacles, and I'm not worried about your sixth house matters, dear Virgos, because this is a card of wonderful health. Pentacles, it's all about physicality, like body, money, work, health, resources, food. So Nine of Pentacles is a very happy, in this case, hare, rabbit. He has everything on his disposal. He has achieved a lot. Like normally it's a lady who is beautifully dressed in a lavish garden, and she's with even with some kind of a bird of prey on her hand. So she's completely self-confident, independent, self-reliable. So she emanates just being full of herself and very, very satisfied and happy, healthy, rich. So all of this, I mean, just really positive messages regarding your health and work, that yes, it's a full moon, it's a culmination, and it's time to reap your deserved rewards, because normally, dear Virgos, you're very hardworking, very decent, honest, a little bit sometimes some Virgos can be more shy or rather modest, right? So in this case you have to receive your rewards truly. Dear Libras, for you this full moon happens in your fifth house. So we're talking about the beautiful area of life that is about children, love life, romance in life, adventures, holidays, games, fun, play, hobbies, or your own business. So of course there might be news about these people or from these people. Children come to visit you, maybe engagement ring from your sweetheart, some kind of development in this sense. Exhibition or just culmination of your art project or anything you do for pleasure, for fun, as a hobby. Maybe you are now just showing it to the public. But at the same time, remember that the moon conjuncts Saturn, who is retrograde at this moment. So Saturn is a bit of a tougher planet, which is not so much about fun and joy, rather the opposite. It's about hard work and deserved wonderful results. So Saturn here says that you must be very cautious and, like very reasonable and practical to whom you give your heart, to what you invest your money and passion. Is your hobby too superficial? Is your relationship too superficial? Do you want children? Do you want your own business? Maybe you want your hobby to bring you also money, but for this matter you have to build a website, recruit some team, pass some short course of finances, to do your invoices and so on. So it's not all fun and play, or at least by Saturn in your 5th house. But, on the other hand, dear Libras, for some of you, Saturn here can give you children, can give you long-term commitments, can really decide, be discerning about what is your true passion and your true talents, how can you put them into use practically. And, of course, your relationships must be also very, very stable and restructured, reevaluated in case you find them too frivolous and you want something more. Then you have to deconstruct the structure till the bottom in order to erect it again, this time the proper way. We say you cannot keep on building 2nd, 3rd floor if your foundation is shaky, and Saturn doesn't like shaky things. Now, I drew a card for each sign from this beautiful deck. It's called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's animal-based deck and it's absolutely adorable. So I drew a card in a previous video that I did in Bulgarian language, because I have 2 YouTube channels, the same information I deliver but in 2 languages. And there I drew the cards for each sign. So we got for you the Strength. It's a major arcana number 8. Normally it's a fragile young maiden, lady, girl, and she's taming a lion. That's exactly the topic of this Saturnian team and Leo team, Leo Aquarius, right, which we discussed in the first part of the video. So Libra, you are known to have this beautiful soft power skills. You're a great diplomat, negotiator, and this card is about it. It's not about fights. It's not about being aggressive and taking territories or, conquering people or places, cities and so on, business. But it's about soft skills. It's about gentle power. It's about basically being strong within, being confident, not bending down according to other people's wishes. If you know your principles and you know that you're worth, for instance, an engagement ring, and you're 7 years already in a relationship, but you're still not even living together, so maybe this is the time to kind of stand up for yourself and say something like, hey, I love you really, but I need something more and I deserve it. So are we keep on going together, but according to my rules this time, or we are just going separate ways and find someone who truly will make us happy about other people, So yeah, the Strength card is a beautiful message from the universe that you have this inner pillar in you which keeps you straight
whatever happens, you are in your own rights, and you can show this beautiful, diplomatic, but assertive strength of yours. Dear Scorpios, for you this full moon happens in one of the cardinal points of your chart. That's the so-called fourth house at the very bottom of the wheel of the natal chart. And fourth house, of course, is about our upbringing. It's about our family environment and parents. Hence, it's about the memories, the past. So in this case, of course, there might be some revelations, news from family members, from parents. Maybe you have some family meeting, celebration, a reunion together. Maybe there is a new member of the family, whether someone introduces a partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, or there is a baby in the house. Maybe it's a new house, maybe it's end of renovation process finally, because usually this is the word we link to full moons. Finally something happens, reach a culmination, a fruition, and that might be your renting or selling or buying property, some kind of family business, investments in property, and so on. Now you have the more clarity about it. And of course it's about finding your own sense of security and stability, your own roots in this life. Which sometimes for Scorpios is a bit hard, I must say, due to the turbulent nature of your lives, and like every now and then you have the feeling that you are starting completely new life, like everything resets. That's also the nature of the Scorpio energy. In this case as well, the moon conjunct Saturn, and Saturn is the planet of time, of karma, of the past, of older age. So maybe you're working with a psychologist, you do some regressions, you go back in even before you were born, when you were in your mom's belly, and you have some revelations about your emotions, which are though soaked from your family environment in very early childhood, which normally you wouldn't remember. So that's why you need to work with a specialist. Saturn retrograde might give some delays. Maybe you found the perfect property for yourself, but you first need to apply for a mortgage, or it's about relocation with your partner somewhere. So again, you have to first take care of your parents or of your old flat, right? So Saturn wants you to think twice, to reconstruct, rebuild, restructure. Maybe you are indeed building your own home, and now you need to recalibrate the calculations, because maybe you noticed it doesn't go as you wanted. So in order to your new home physically, or your new family to work properly, you need to dig to the basement and see if the construction is strong from the basement itself. Otherwise, no matter how hard you try with second, third floor and so on, eventually with some earthquake, it will just fall apart, right? And you can use it as a metaphor here, definitely. So dear Scorpios, as for other signs, I drew a card from this lovely tarot deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's an animal-based deck, and it's really beautiful. Gives me a really good vibe. And I drew the card in a previous video, which I did in Bulgarian language, the same topic, but for my Bulgarian astrology channel. And so the card for you, Scorps, was Four of Wands. And really, number 4, it's about stability. It's about these 4 corners, the 4 pillars, which keep all the construction. It's a very family card. It's about family gatherings, celebrations, weddings. It's all about property, feeling stable, feeling good with your closest people. In this case, you can see it's almost like a fox wedding or something. So of course then we're talking about reunion with your maybe parents, maybe you go back to your home country, home city for the summer, right? Or to take care of parents or of some property matters. But it promises to be a beautiful time, dear Scorpios.
Dear Sagittarius, for you, this full moon illuminates your third house of travels, communication, information, meeting people. It also talks about your siblings, your closest environment, cousins, relatives, neighbors. So maybe there will be some news about these people or from them. Maybe you're meeting with some old classmates, because Saturn is involved here and Saturn is retrograde. So we're talking about the past or about something that needs reassessing, rethinking, restructuring. Maybe we're talking here about your online business, your trading. Maybe you're building a website, but now you look at it and you're like, oh, well, it's not what I wanted, it's not what I expected, or I need some changes, right? So it's okay. Here Saturn says you can think twice, 3 times. Take your time, be patient. Yeah, full moon illuminates the third house matters, like should you relocate, should you change the neighborhood, should you buy a new car or sell the old one, should you subscribe to some new course or finish the old course that's about the language or computer language or marketing skills, for example. Maybe you did finish such course, but now you need to refresh your knowledge and memory, because now it's truly when you need it. Striking some deals, looking for documents, gathering some papers, that's all third house. So maybe you are applying for some visa to travel somewhere or a passport. So Saturn here might delay the things a little bit. Yeah, so let's see the card which I drew for you from a deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's a beautiful nature-based deck with cute animals. And the card I drew it still in the previous video, which I recorded about the absolutely same topic, but in different language. I have 2 YouTube channels. This one is the English one, and I have one in Bulgarian. And so the card for you was the Wheel of Fortune. It's a very beautiful, fortunate card. And it reminds me, because yeah, the fortune is like just relax and accept everything that comes into your life, integrate it, don't fight it. So that's true. Also, the Wheel of Fortune can signify travels and really going somewhere now, maybe abroad to work or for holidays. Maybe it's online business indeed. So you are meeting with so many people from different corners of the world, but it can be possible nowadays, you know, through applications and Zoom and online, generally social medias. So good luck too. And also karma, you know, what comes around goes around, or vice versa, what goes around comes around. And you know, it's all the same. The wheel spins, keeps on spinning. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're balancing somewhere in the middle. So basically, Saturn is the planet of the karma, and he's now in your third house. So you're solving some karma with neighbors, with siblings, with relatives, with local environment, maybe your home country. Maybe you want to live abroad. Sagittarius love to expand, and you cannot keep a Sagittarius all life in same village or same neighborhood. But now you have to deal with what you owe to the soul, which now incarnated as your brother, for instance, or your neighbor. Yeah, or maybe the karma is now through learning and applying your skills. Maybe you learn Norwegian language, so then you can go move to Norway and, you know, be a good professionalist there. But anyways, everything that happens now regarding the third house topics that I mentioned, like vehicle, courses, studies, documents, papers, your closest environment, your daily habits as well. This is all right now, it has to happen this way, and the full moon might illuminate why exactly and what are you kind of repairing in this area of your life. Okay, so dear Capricorns, for you this full moon happens in your second house of work and finances. So of course these topics are on the spotlight for you. You will have some revelations
some knowledge about what's going on with your payments, with your salary, with your work. Maybe you're celebrating because you finished some work project, and of course you received the deserved rewards and awards. Maybe you are now changing job and leaving the old office. Full moons are oftentimes endings, culminations. So possibly you manage to negotiate a better salary for yourself. Second house is how we feed, how we take care of our bodies, our belongings like jewels, like clothes, furniture at home. So maybe you decided to redecorate your home, some kind of beautification of a place of living. You are checking now your budget. Maybe you're buying something important that you planned to do, or maybe you are just comparing now the prices and searching. That would be a good choice because your ruler, actually Saturn, conjuncts this full moon. Your ruler is in the second house and he's retrograde. As if you go back to some old work project, whether to finish it or because you need additional income. Maybe you are re-evaluating your budget. Can you afford this and that at the moment, right? So you are more like restructuring, rethinking maybe your own value, your own self-esteem. Like, what do you value in life? What do you value in yourself? How worthy you feel, basically, dear Capricorns. How much people can also, hence, like, respect you, and for what qualities exactly. So maybe all this goes now through your head. Also, maybe you are seeing the results of some diet, of some exercises. Maybe you go back to old diet or old type of fitness instructor exercises, anything that can be more beneficial for your well-being, physically speaking, physical health. Capricorns, I drew a card for you from this beautiful animal-based deck called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. I drew the card even in my previous video, which is the same topic absolutely, but in Bulgarian language, because I have 2 YouTube channels, so I'm recording always double videos in English and Bulgarian. And so the card for you was 4 of Cups. It's an interesting card, really, because we're talking here about money, work, self-esteem, and on this card usually it's a person, or in this case a squirrel, who is folding, you know, their paws, their hands like this, like they don't care, like they don't want, they are too busy with themselves in a sense, or maybe they're a bit bored or not interested, you see, and you know, nature or someone offers them something, some offer, some cups. They have 3 cups, they kind of don't even notice that there is a 4th one coming to them. So in case we're talking about source of income, financial work project, maybe you're tired, maybe you're overloaded, but then you are offered more and more. It's like, you know, people respect you, Capricorns. We know that you're wonderful, well-organized, structured, serious workers and leaders and team managers and so on. So of course you usually have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders, but such is the way to the Everest, to the high peak of your success. So basically, just the advice of this card is not to miss some incoming opportunities in case you have a resource physically for it and you want to take additional job or something. Then, like a freelancer, you actually can have it unless you show your character or boredomness, or like, you don't deserve me as a specialist here or something like that. Then of course you will miss the opportunity. Dear Aquarius, for you this full moon happens in your 1st house, so the moon illuminates you, my precious Aquarius. Your physical appearance is on the spotlight, your initiations in the world are on the spotlight, your personal preferences, projects, relationships. 1st house is the beginning of all beginnings. It's how we begin something. So maybe you have started something 2 weeks ago, 6 months ago, 1 year and a half ago. It was a new moon in your 1st house. So maybe back then you made some wishes, you wanted to materialize something, and now voila, it's here, it's in your life, it's material, it's tangible. So you achieved something, you reached some point, and now you can either be proud of yourself, pick up your results, reap what you sow basically, and enjoy it. Or maybe you're in the middle of the road, so you are like, okay, you have reached the middle ground, middle stage, and you see what you have accomplished. Congratulate yourself for this. It's important to acknowledge yourself, your efforts, your success, but then you still can look up. Like, sky is oftentimes the limit, right, Aquarius? And you know it very well because you're a very visionary sign. You never can stop your development, your studies, your expansion of your knowledge, of your contacts, of your beliefs in the world. So yeah, it might be, of course, a culmination of a project or of a relationship. Maybe you realize, do you want to be with these people? Maybe not anymore. Remember that the moon conjuncts here Saturn, and you will feel it especially the most if your rising sign or sun or moon are around the 19th degree of Aquarius, because that means that Saturn is also currently here, and then he will be in October, he will be changing direction of movement nearby, so you will feel very much Saturnian, which is a lot of responsibilities, which is a lot of efforts, which is a lot of maturity. You might feel old, you might feel suddenly like you're a 100 years old person with so much knowledge and experience that everyone relies on you. Suddenly you are like, you know, the leader and the patriarch of the family, of the business, and so on. So the decisions are up to you, and you, of course, it's a big commitment and big responsibility. Now currently Saturn is retrograde, so you are as if re-evaluating. Do you want this all responsibility? Are you ready to be completely into this work project, into this relationship, to kind of, you know, when people propose usually to each other, when people marry in a traditional sense, it's about when you promise to be with someone in the good times and bad times and protect them and take responsibility as well for them and for future children. So it's not just the fun part, let's say, of dating, but marriage is something way more serious. So possibly some of you are considering this. And yeah, I drew a card for you, Aquarius, from, I'll show you now the deck. It's called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot, and it's a very, very interesting animal-based deck. So by independent creator, as far as I know. And the card for you is Seven of Wands. You don't see me shuffling and drawing because I did it already from a previous video which I recorded in Bulgarian language. So same topic, same explanation, same cards for each zodiac sign, just I do it twice, once for my Bulgarian channel and once for my English channel for you. So Seven of Wands is actually this feeling that you are one-man army, that you are standing on a higher position, you have a very good strategical position, and you are defending yourself, your principles, your beliefs, your project from some critics maybe, from competitors maybe. You maybe are presenting now to teachers your master thesis or doctorate thesis because you won the degree, right? So you were preparing and still preparing. Yeah, Saturn is still retrograde, so you still have to research, evaluate, restructure. But yeah, it's a moment of not relaxing really, but it's a moment of knowing where you're standing, how the battle goes, where you have reached, and you have reached a good location strategically, and from here you can show yourself, yeah, show your confidence, show your skills, and defend yourself against any other differently thinking people at the end of the day, and you will have the success. Usually the fight is worth, as we say, the goal is worth fighting, for example, and it's some personal goal of yours. Dear Pisces, for you this full moon is very mystical because it happens in your 12th house of subconscious, of the past, of endings, of relaxing, isolating from the society. So because it's a full moon, it brings some kind of illumination. So maybe you have this internal aha moments, like you understand suddenly the reasons of something in your life, of your behavior. Yeah, your own behavior. Sometimes we are surprised, like what are our own inner motives. And sometimes they come not from the good part, good source of faith and hopes, but they come from the source, the kind of the shadow source of fears, of being traumatized, of not feeling secure, of feeling revengeful. And when it's in the 12th house, we don't actually realize it. We cannot even verbalize it. It's just somewhere there boiling. So full moon can illuminate these matters, especially if you work with a specialist, with a psychologist, or you do some regressions or constellations. Spiritual work, meditation could be helpful here. A 12th house is the house of self-undoing. How do we harm ourselves? Through some mechanically repeating bad patterns, and bad habits. And Saturn is here. So Saturn is the big critic. So maybe you are eating yourself from within. You're criticizing yourself. This inner voice of your parent or of your teacher, of your boss, the one who is like always, critic. It's not nice, really. And Pisces, you're just a very soulful people. You need to expand, to develop. Your rulers are Jupiter and Neptune. Both don't want to know any limits. They're kind of are connecting people, connecting worlds, the conscious and the subconscious world, the world of physical realities and imagination, and so on. But it's easy to be lost there. So it's good, it's nice to have Saturn structuring your imagination, your subconscious, your spirit world, your dreams, and helping you fight against your bad habits, against temptations, seductions, which is too much, right? Because we all have the right to have some fun in life, right? I'm not here to preach like Saturn would, but the quantity depends probably sometimes on the quantity. And Saturn is more about the quality rather than the quantity. Saturn is about limits and self-discipline. So subconsciously you're meant to discipline yourself. And now I will draw a card. I mean, I drew already a card from this beautiful tarot. It's called Oak, Ash and Thorn Tarot. It's really, really lovely, like animal-based images, but of course based on Rider-Waite cards, classical tarot card. And because I have 2 YouTube channels, so I record twice every video, once in Bulgarian language for my fellow countrymen Bulgarians and once for my international friends and public in English. So the card is already drawn, it's for you, and it's surprisingly accurate. It's the devil. It's about this inner demons, inner shadow, which is like usually pushing us towards just the pleasures and just making the mistakes and being trapped. You see, usually the theme of the devil is whether the seduction, the seductive part, temptations, or it can be the part of our souls being trapped. The devil, like the hunter, who offers us something beautiful in order just to make us hooked on this. You know, it can be drinking, it can be smoking, it can be relationship, it can be fear to build something stable and proper and just be constantly on the go and run away from responsibilities. It can be, of course, drugs and so on, which initially brings pleasure and as if liberation, but it's illusion. Yeah, the devil is the master of the illusions, and hence also like trapping sometimes people into just what could be hell. I'm thinking, well, hell for me, it's something that you repeat.
it brings you pain, but you keep on doing it subconsciously, yeah, because you cannot tap to the origin of the problem and to stop being this hamster in a wheel of temptations and self-harming and so on. So basically, you have the great chance now, dear Pisces, to be more, like pull yourself together, organize yourself. Saturn is in your subconscious 12th house to structure your memories, structure your past life experiences, teach you resistance, teach you strength, willpower, teach you willpower basically, and know when to have fun and how to have fun, and then also when to be fully present in the daily routines and do your best for your, let's say, physical well-being, because 12th, 6th house is also about health axis. I believe that most of the health physical problems are alarm lights, like little lights that show that actually there is a problem in the psychological mental state. And here you can pretty much discover what's the problem and deal with it in a reasonable, adult, wise, serious way, and get rid of bad habits once and for all. So this was the forecast for the upcoming full moon in Aquarius. I wish you lovely full moon, very useful, very helpful to all of us. May it bless us with good luck and success. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.